All right. Well, thank you all for being here. Welcome to the Lunch and Learn with QWF. Bonjour à tous et à toutes. Nous sommes ravis de vous souhaiter la bienvenue ici en ligne. Je vais continuer en anglais. As I mentioned earlier, I'm Riley Palanca. I'm the Membership Services Coordinator at the Quebec Writers Federation. As we begin, we give thanks and we remember. We give thanks for the land we live on and the waters that surround us. And we remember that Tiohtià:ke, Montreal, the land upon which QWF has made its home, has been a gathering place for millennia and still remains the unceded territory of the Kanien'kehá:ka, Mohawk people, and other First Nations. We recognize the stories and ongoing oral practices of the indigenous peoples of these lands, which inform our work as writers and literary artists. We remember that we, First Nations, Métis, Inuit, settlers, immigrants, and people brought here against their will, live in this country together. We must never forget our experiences and roles and those of our ancestors in colonization and subsequent injustices, and must strive to live alongside one another in peace, mutual respect, and as allies to steward the lands and waters that sustain us. We must walk gently and respectfully on these lands and commit to investing QWF resources and efforts towards this goal in friendship, esteem, and in the pursuit of justice and equality. So just some housekeeping. So this meeting is being recorded and will be uploaded on QWF's YouTube channel. Please do keep yourself muted unless you have been given the floor to talk. There will be a question and answer session at the very end. You can put any questions you have in the chat, but we may not be able to answer them until the very end of the session. Rest assured, any written questions will be answered today, though. So today's presentation will be divided into three parts. I will talk about opportunities, programs, and activities QWF delivers that might be of interest to aspiring or emerging writers. I know there are a lot of us here. Afterwards, Laurie Schubert will talk about opportunities for established or mid-career writers. Then John Wickham will go over our website. Finally, as promised, we will end with a Q&A session where we will open this to the audience for any lingering concerns. So, Long C, let me just share my screen. Perfect. So this presentation is part of the Quebec Writers Federation is an art service organization that provides English language programs, services, opportunities, and community for aspiring, emerging, and established writers and the wider community. So in a nutshell, that's who we are. This Lunch and Learn is with QWF is a quarterly series where QWF staff present our various programs and services to new members or returning members in some people's cases. So one of the biggest activities we hold, of which we are best known, are our workshops. We hold workshops during the spring and the fall. The fall workshops are actually on the go right now. They usually take place in the evenings, the majority of which have 8 sessions that meet weekly, though that can vary. And we also have 1 or 2 day intensive workshops that take place during the weekend. I know someone mentioned they just took a weekend workshop last Sunday, and I know one of you here is starting an 8-week workshop soon as well. I also want to mention that most of our workshops happen in person at our office, which is at the Atwater Library. But for majority of our workshops, we reserve 1 or 2 virtual spots for people who want to attend but are unable to come to the office for reason of disability or distance. They don't live in Montreal, they live elsewhere in Canada, or they have a disability so they can't go out late at night, etc. I like to discuss the workshop in 2 parts. First, as you can see with these 4 examples I have on screen, we have craft workshops. So these are workshops where one can learn about the craft of writing, specifically with certain genres, poetry, nonfiction, short story, playwriting, etc. We actually had some interesting ones lately, like how to write about trauma without being annoying, and how to write weird fiction. These workshops are led by an accomplished professional writer, and participants can expect to develop their writing through feedback and exercises. So, in addition to these craft-based workshops, the other type we offer are professional development workshops. So, we are committed to supporting writers in all stages of their careers, and that also means understanding the life cycle of a writer. So, we have workshops on grant writing, podcasting, creating a website, publishing, etc. We even had a workshop recently on how to handle rejection. So for this fall, the two workshops we have on professional development of a writer are, a pitch plan and lead, how to get and give a workshop. So, for those of you who you think that you're already at the level where you can teach other people what you know, so this might be a good workshop for you. It starts in a couple of weeks. And we have this lovely workshop with Susan Doherty, mastering book marketing. And a couple of you mentioned, best ways and how to promote your book. So this might be the best workshop for you to take. I will mention, sadly, registration is closed. Some of our workshops, they sell out very quickly. And in the case of this workshop, the 12 spots we have gone very quickly, but you can still, put yourself on the waiting list, and if there are any cancellations, which there often are, we'll go through that list in priority. So complementary to our workshop series is our Lunch and Learn series. You are attending one right now. This one we do with QWF, we do every 3 months. And in between those 3 months, we invite other organizations or speakers to deliver presentations monthly, either to speak on a hot topic that is of interest to our members, such as how to get translated or how to work with a literary agent, or to introduce an arts-based organization to our members. This year, we've had Carte Blanche, Playwrights Workshop Montreal, Youth Employment Services Montreal, Turret House Press, and the Montreal Fringe. In November, we're having one on video game writing. It's on November 20th. Keep your eye out for that. And the week after that, November 27th, it's not yet been announced, but we're going to have one with Canada Council for the Arts, where we'll have a couple of program officers speak. So moving on from workshops and lunch and learns, another opportunity for emerging writers is to get direct guidance from a professional writer through our mentorship program. So every year, we pair 7 or 8 emerging writers with an established one, and they work together for a period of 4 months, usually to develop a manuscript. Each pairing is bespoke and catered toward the needs of the mentee. The QWF mentorship program has a proven track record of success, with many mentees achieving significant milestones in their literary careers. Several of them have gone on to publish their first books or, put on podcasts, produce plays, etc., etc. And I'm very pleased to announce that the call for the 2025 cohort is currently open. It closes on October 30th. And I'll post the link to the call for entries in the chat. So, if you're a young writer, you've never had a mentor, you're not working with an editor right now, you're not in an MA program, and you'd like to get guidance, you should definitely apply. I do want to note that getting a mentor through this program can be competitive. If you submit, what happens is that an independent jury will shortlist the top candidates, and the mentors will then select which among the pool they can best mentor through the program. It culminates in a public reading in June. And just give me 1 second. I forgot to put the link in my notes. I'm going to put it in chat right now. I have to stop screen sharing. I can't access screen share when I'm... Oh, no, I can.
I got it, so I
Thank you,
put it in the
John.
chat for you,
Thank
Riley.
you.
No problem.
I should have put that in my notes. Opportunities. Opportunities for publication with QWF. So I'd like to note that we are not a publishing house, but we do have an online literary journal. It's called Carte Blanche. They have an independent editorial team, and they publish 3 issues per year. And they do accept a wide range of genres. They have short fiction, poetry, essays, translations, and even photographs. And all accepted entries are paid. Sadly, submissions just closed for issue 50, but keep an eye out for, submissions for issue 51. And you can keep in touch with them via their website as well, which I have access there, which I just put in chat as well. So staying on opportunities, but we're now moving from page to the stage, we have the Words and Music Show. So this was originally created and curated by the late inimitable Ian Ferrier. The Words and Music Show is QWF's literary cabaret that showcases the talents of various writers, spoken word poets, storytellers, hip-hop artists, and musicians. And performers are also paid. It used to be a monthly show, but now we're doing it quarterly. Earlier this year, we featured the winners and one finalist of the 2023 Ian Ferrier Spoken Word Prize. We also featured storytelling artists, both local and international, in the spring. And just last month, we had a Caribbean celebration of Afro-Caribbean spoken word artists and musicians at La Soterenea. So that was a lovely show. For this program, it tends to be curated. So there is a committee that, they sit this, they decide what themes they'd like to present every year, and then they select the performers. I want to pivot a little bit. A lot of the programs I mentioned do come with a cost, i.e., there is a cost to register for a workshop, or there's a cost, like there's a $30 fee to apply for a mentorship. However, we do have scholarships that waive these costs. For example, for every season, we offer 4 needs-based scholarships. That is to say, if there is a workshop you really want to take, but you can't afford it, you just have to write to us to see if a scholarship spot is available, and we can let you take that workshop for free. It's just first come, first served, so sometimes the slots run out, but as long as there's an available spot, you can take any workshop you want, assuming you fit into the criteria of the needs-based scholarship. In addition to that, we offer 4 more workshop scholarships as part of the Fresh Pages initiative. So the Fresh Pages initiative was created in response to the underrepresentation of Black, Indigenous, and other people of color individuals in the literary scene. It has 4 components, the first of which is 4 additional workshop scholarships. So that basically means every season we offer 8, free spots for workshops. For the mentorship program, we have the special Mayruth Sarsfield mentorship. Because for the regular mentorship, there is a $30 application fee one has to pay in order to apply. But applications to the Mayruth Sarsfield mentorship is free, and there is a specific genre that is focused on every year. For 2025, for example, for this year's call, the genre is in spoken word, and it will be, the mentor is Kamala Mackerel. So it's going to be a lovely time if you're interested in spoken word poetry. I highly suggest you apply, assuming you're BIPOC, of course. If you would like to learn how to curate your own live literary show, you can take part in the guest curatorship of the Words and Music Show. You would be mentored by an established performance artist. This year, it was QWF President Tauhida Tanya Evanson, and you would be responsible for putting on one iteration of the cabaret. The call for the 2025 guest curator will come next year, so keep an eye out for the amazing show they will curate in the fall. And going back. Finally, one can learn about the ropes of being an editor for a literary journal by taking part in the editorial mentorship at Carte Blanche. This year, we looked for someone who wanted to learn the ropes of being a managing editor, which includes vetting submissions, coordinating writers, and the like. So a call for 2025 will come out next year as well. So to close, I want to reiterate that the Fresh Pages initiative is specifically for BIPOC individuals, and we really want to make sure that these programs serve these communities. So if you know a promising person who you think would benefit from any of these, please let them get in contact with us so we can talk to them more about it. So Lori will talk more about the QWF Awards later, but I wanted to specially highlight QWF's College Writers Award. This is sponsored by the various English language SAGEPs in Quebec and is open exclusively to students of those colleges. We award $1,000 to a promising student who submits the best work. And the competition is closed because the school year is over. But if you are a SAGEP student or you know a SAGEP student who loves to write, they don't have to be an English major at all. Any student can apply. But yeah, once it opens next year, they should absolutely send in their work for more recognition. Shut Up and Write. So Shut Up and Write is a weekly event that is exclusive to QWF members. Here, the participants gather either virtually or in person and write together. It is a productivity technique utilizing the Pomodoro method that helps one overcome procrastination and find the discipline needed to consistently dedicate time to the writing practice. The participants write for 25 minutes, and then there is a dedicated 5-minute break for socializing and chats, and then back to 25 minutes of writing. So it rotates one week it's virtual, the other week it's in person. This week we're doing it virtually via Zoom on Saturday. It's going to be hosted by one of our regular volunteers, Jesse Gandol. And next week it will be done in person at our office, hosted by John. And it goes on in that pattern every week. So as you can see here from the quote I have on screen, from Leah Bedia, who credits, Shut Up and Write as something that really helped her in being able to publish her first book. So staying on the exclusive perks of being a QWF member, QWF members get exclusive access to our monthly newsletter, which is prepared by my colleague John, who you've met earlier, and you'll hear more later. Our newsletter is chock full of things that are of interest to a writer or literary lover in Quebec. There's news, events, workshop announcements, contests, job opportunities, and the like. Sometimes it's knowledge of an opportunity that could be your big break. Like maybe a magazine is looking for exactly the type of poetry that you write, or QWF is offering exactly the type of workshop that you need. And don't forget that we advertise our workshops first to our members, and that our members get a good discount on our workshops. On the topic of discounts, QWF members also get discounts from various partners. This includes a discount on your book purchases from certain local independent bookstores, workshops, memberships, subscriptions, and ticket discounts from these other presenters. Note that we have recently received confirmation of discounts from several new places, including new bookstores, new theater companies, and new magazines. And we'll be announcing all of that, over the next week or so. So keep an eye out for a revised version of our member discounts. And finally, being a member of the QWF is being part of the greater literary community in Quebec. We represent more than 900 members, and I like to say that the English writing and publishing scene in Quebec is very rich and vibrant, especially considering the percentage of Anglophones in the province. Being part of this community means being invited to networking and schmoozers that we host. We try to do around 3 or 4 a year, including our annual picnic. We're co-promoting the Literary Oktoberfest happening in a couple of weeks, with Yoke Magazine. And in late November, we're having a big schmoozer with 3 other Anglophone arts organizations, Elan, Yes, and QDF. And finally, around December, we'll have our annual book giveaway at the office. When we host membership events, we have a buddy system so that our shy or introverted or new members, who want to take part can be matched with someone who is already on our network and to introduce them around. We also have a safer spaces policy to make sure that everyone who attends our events feels safe and unharassed. And I just have a question here from Julie. How do you prove you're a member of QWF? Is there a membership card? Yes. So once you join up, you should have like an electronic membership card which you can print. And then when you go to the bookstores that offer discounts, you would just show them the card, and then they would honor the 10% discount that they would give at Drawn and Quarterly. So before I pass it on to Lori, I encourage you all to be a member of QWF. For those who aren't, we have 3 categories, general, professional, and student. And membership is very affordable, especially if you compare it to other writing organizations in other provinces, at $60 for general and professional members and $25 for student members. We take registrations online, and payment can be done via credit card, Visa debit, PayPal, check, or cash. The best thing is we offer a pay what you can model. No one who wants to be a QWF member will be refused on the basis of ability to pay. With this model, you can decide how much you would like to pay for your membership, and you can sign up from $0 all the way to the full amount. And finally, I want to mention that QWF membership fees, as workshop registration fees, is proof of being part of a craft-based organization. And if you're a freelancer, can be claimed on your taxes. So yes, join QWF for the tax break. That's all. Passing it to Laurie now.
And Natalia asked whether the e-news comes automatically when you join. The answer is yes. If you haven't gotten an e-news or any notification from us within a couple of weeks after joining, then you should write to Riley. And our emails, by the way, are very easy. It's riley@qwf.org, john@qwf.org, and lori@qwf.org. So I just want to mention one thing Riley didn't mention, and it's about the Fresh Pages project. There are, as they said, there are 3 different mentorships available. We actually pay the mentees. So if you're selected for that program, there's an $800 honorarium for the work that you're doing in that program as well. So my portion of this introduction to QWF is primarily geared towards established and mid-career writers, and I know we have some people like that in the virtual room, so I'm pleased to address it to them, but also to all of you, because it's worth knowing as you progress in your writing what might lie ahead for you. So one of the key things that we're trying to offer is recognition and visibility in the community, the writing community, and in the larger community. And I've got a list of ways that we do that. The foremost of which really is the QWF Awards, which Riley mentioned. These are annual. They started out as just book prizes. Most of them are still book prizes. There's the Best Paragraph Hugh McLennan Prize for Fiction. There's the Mavis Gallant Prize for Nonfiction, the A.M. Klein Prize for Poetry. Those were our original 3 genres, but we've since added a first book prize, we've added a playwriting prize, we've added a prize for children's and young adult writing, and translation as well. Those prizes are $3,000 for the winners. But the neat thing is that we have a short list every year, so more than just the winner benefits from that, and our short lists have become a little longer in the last few years, so we try to give more visibility to more writers. Obviously it's based on jury decisions, and the jurors are not members of the QWF Board of Directors, they're external. And to that we recently added the Ian Ferrier Spoken Word Prize. This will be our 3rd year, I believe, doing that. And there is another prize which is not a monetary prize called the Judy Mappin Award. And those of you who've been around in Montreal for more than a few years might remember Judy Mappin and her bookstore, The Double Hook, which featured Canadian literature. And she was an amazing woman who did so much for the community. So we honor her memory and the contribution of one other person. Most years it's one, occasionally we've had 2. Excuse me. With that Judy Mappin Prize. The gala this year is on Tuesday, November 12th. It's open to everyone. It's a fantastic party. The tickets to come to the full event are $60, but you do get a couple of drink tickets for that, and you get some really good hors d'oeuvres that are passed around, and people really do seem to enjoy it. I suspect that we're on the verge of selling out. We haven't quite sold out, but I think with all the finalists that we have this year, we may well, for the first time, sell out this year. So if you're interested in going, be sure to buy your tickets, reserve your tickets in advance. There will be an announcement on or around, but hopefully on October 15th, of all the shortlisted books for this year's prize and the spoken word finalists. And that will also give information about how to get tickets to the gala. So, and I'll just say that in terms of a more established writers and mid-career writers, that is the social occasion of the year. That's really where people come to schmooze with one another. Okay, other places where we give visibility to writers are, and Riley has mentioned some of these, the Writers Out Loud series, the Words and Music events. We also have an online literary database, which John will show you, featuring, well, the last time it was updated, it had more than 2,400 books in it by 1,375 authors and translators. Those are the books that have been submitted over the years for the QWF Awards. And before that, the QSPEL Awards. QSPEL was one of our parent organizations. So you should definitely check that out. John will show you how to do that. We also have a residency for one writer every year. That's in Ireland, and that's going to be Amy Wall this year. Last year it was Heather O'Neill who won that. It's going to be at the Tyrone Guthrie Centre in County Monaghan, near the Northern Ireland border. And Amy will be leaving in, I think, about a week to go do that. It's 3 weeks. Riley also mentioned carte blanche as a possibility for visibility. There are definitely places for established writers to be published in carte blanche as well. Not just by submission, but sometimes by solicitation. So the various editors might reach out to someone to ask them to do a special piece, in which case the honorarium is a little bit higher. The normal honorarium for carte blanche is $75, but if you're solicited, it would be $200. We also have a directory online, which John will show you, called Hire a Writer. If you are trying to make a living, at least in part, by selling your services as a writer or an editor or a translator, then you should definitely look into getting registered on the Hire a Writer website. We do not act as an intermediary. We do vet the candidates. If you apply, a committee will be looking at your application to see whether we can stand behind putting you out there as a professional in whatever areas you're claiming expertise. But after that, people can contact you directly through the Hire a Writer directory. And that's been recently updated, and we're very pleased with the way it looks, and you'll see it in a few minutes. We also have a Writers in Cégeps program. Well, it's not ours, it's the province of Quebec's Writers in Cégeps program and Writers in Schools, but we serve as the organization that selects the English language writers for those programs. And we work in partnership with UNEC, the Union des écrivaines et écrivains québécois. And there's a period in which there's a call for applications, and that's not open right now. Usually that's announced in the spring for Writers in Cégeps. Writers in Schools is kind of every couple of years when the province decides they want to do it. But Writers in Cégeps, you can apply annually. And once you're in the directory, you don't need to apply again. Next, we have a program called Literary Dinners and Teas. And it's a fundraising operation for QWF, whereby members of the community can bring in a writer with our help to come join them at dinner or tea for either 2 hours or 3 hours at dinner, or hour and a half for tea, with a group of people. So sometimes book clubs take advantage of this, and each person in attendance makes a donation to QWF. The writer does not get paid for that. They do get a meal or tea, and they do usually sell books to those who are attending. So that's called Literary Dinners and Teas, and you can look at that. We recently relaunched it, so we're trying to get it off the ground. If anybody here is interested in hosting one of those, let me know at some point, and we can talk about it. We also have special opportunities that come up from time to time. For example, this year, the Conseil des Arts de Montréal approached us and asked us to put together a project on the West Island, a couple of projects on the West Island, and they gave us money so that we were able to give out 2 $11,000 grants to writers who won a competition to create or co-create art projects with members of the communities on the West Island. One of those launched on Saturday in Montreal West. I was there. It was fantastic. Several of them have been pushed later to the spring for various reasons, such as flooding and need for translation. But John, we do have one more, don't we, coming up this fall?
Yes, I believe so, later, either in November or December.
Okay.
something like that.
So watch for it if you're interested in attending. They're really interesting projects. The one that I went to on Saturday is a sort of a podcast operation where you go to a particular place in Montreal West, and there are 4 different routes, and you get a map, and you get a story that has been written by the writer who got the grant. It's being performed by actors, and it's all pulled together from interviews that Stephanie Marula did with members of those communities to learn about the history of the community, but she weaves it into a sort of a play, and you listen to it as you walk, and places are mentioned as you pass them. It's quite entertaining. I really enjoyed it. We'll be putting that up on our website after the full the project is fully done in its in-person version. Okay, another upcoming opportunity. Riley mentioned that we would be having a lunch and learn with the Canada Council, but you'll also be able to sign up for 20 people. We'll have 20 slots so that you can sign up for a one-on-one session with one of the Canada Council program officers. So if you're thinking of applying for a grant in the coming year, this would be a great opportunity to bring your project idea and your questions to someone. So watch for an announcement of that in the coming weeks. And there's one more event where we give visibility to authors. We're a minor partner in this event. It's the AELAQ Book Fair. It's called Read Quebec. AELAQ is the organization of English language publishers in Quebec. And they share an office with us, and each year they have a Read Quebec Book Fair at which they feature quite a large number of writers with their books that have been published in the previous year. So because the money behind the book fair is coming from the AELAQ, they're the ones it's the publisher members whose books are featured in the fair, but we do get an opportunity to put in some of the books from the finalists of the QWF Awards. This is another event I would urge you to come to as a great social meeting place and a place to see what books have been published in Quebec in English in the last year. So that's visibility. The next thing I want to talk about very quickly is employment. One of the things that we offer to writers who have basically achieved at least the equivalent of publishing a book. And then that goes on up to people who, like Darine, have published 7 books or so many articles, or have been award-winning journalists, or so forth. So we have juries that we put together, and these pay pretty well. We have juries for the QWF Awards, for the College Writers Award, for our residencies, for the Fresh Pages program. Many programs have jurors, so we hire lots of jurors in a year. We also hire, as you know, workshop leaders. We do a call for proposals for workshops every spring, but you can submit a proposal at any time of year. So if you're interested in that, maybe John, you can show where that is on the website to get the form. Okay, John will show you that. We also have the writing mentorship program. The call is out, as Riley said, now, so you could look at that if you're qualified. The Fresh Pages program that provides mentorship positions and jury positions, as well as the mentees, who I told you get an honorarium of $800. And we have our Writers in the Community program, which is our largest single program. That's for people who want to work and are qualified and experienced at working with at-risk youth to go do 10-week workshops, and that pays quite well. We have a program called Storyscaping. We do calls for proposals for that once every 1 or 2 years. There's not one out right now, but you could watch for that. That's for the opportunity to do writing workshops of various kinds with members of the community, the English language communities of Quebec throughout the province, not necessarily as professional development, but more fun. So it might be how to do your own comic book, how to write a children's story for your grandchildren. It could be, how to write personal essays. It can be a little bit more serious, but those are a little bit different from our normal professional development workshops. The target audience is a little different. And we talked about The Hire a Writer directory is a great opportunity for if you're trying to earn a living as a writer. We also have the editorial positions, not only at Carte Blanche, which Riley has spoken about, but in our new journal, which is for youth. It's for writers between the ages of 14 and 21. So at present, there are 3 positions there, the editor-in-chief, and a poetry editor and an art editor. Those have all recently been filled because it's a brand new publication that is having its first issue come out this December. But there will be occasionally calls for open spots to be filled. And special projects, we talked about the one on the West Island. You just have to watch your announcements that come from us, not just the e-newsletter, which comes once a month, but the announcements that come out, I don't know how many a week, usually 1 or 2 at least, I would say, in busy weeks anyway, with other opportunities. And then there are little gigs that come up. Last year we had a campaign called Writing Matters, and we had tables stationed around Montreal in a few places where we had writers come and interact with the public and hear about a situation for which they needed a piece of writing, and then the writer on the spot wrote that piece of writing, printed it, and gave it to them, and so they walked away with that. So that's a paying position as well. I think that's really primarily all I'm going to talk about today. I'm watching the time, and we still have a lot to go with the website, and the website part is really valuable. So if you have questions after John goes, you can pose those. And I'll pass it along to you, John.
Great. Thanks, Laurie. So as I mentioned before, my name is John Wickham, and I'm the communications officer. So that means I'm primarily responsible for things like managing our web content, QWF's marketing, our email communications. So if you have gotten emails from QWF, they're probably from me, as well as our social media accounts. And in that capacity, I'm also here to support QWF members with their own publicity pursuits. And I'll use this as an opportunity to talk briefly about how I can help you with that. For most of my portion, I'll be giving you a tour of QWF's website. In truth, I should say websites, because as Laurie mentioned, I'll also be showing you our Hire a Writer website, as well as our Quebec Books database. And I'll be highlighting some areas that, especially on our QWF.org website, often go unnoticed. So I'm just going to share my screen here first. Okay, can everybody see the QWF.org homepage? Great, I'm seeing some nodding here. Excellent. Okay, so
John,
on this,
it's coming up kind of small. I don't know why. Is that normal?
that's because it is small on my screen. Is that better?
Yeah, can you expand it on your screen further or not?
Nope, that's
Okay.
as big as it gets on my screen. Let me just refresh this. Is that looking good for everyone? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So on the homepage, you'll see kind of a bird's eye view of a bunch of different things going on at QWF. So you see we have a news box right here with the latest big piece of news coming from QWF. At the moment, that's our call for applications for our mentorship program. You'll also see links to various programs or activities going on. For example, our Hire a Writer directory. We'll get to that later. The Max Martley's writing residence that Laurie mentioned, activities going on, and several other links to various programs and activities. Now, often I tend to think that people are pretty familiar once they discover QWF, kind of poking around on our website and looking through all the different activities and programs. So you can view that all kind of on your own time. You can look through all of the various programs and whatnot that Laurie and Riley have talked about along all of these different items in our main menu. But I think a lot of people don't notice this upper menu here with news, calendar, contact, and donate. And I especially want to bring your attention to the news item as well as the calendar item. I'm going to show you what those look like now. Our news is where all of our posts go. These are time-bound opportunities and various different activities or things going on at QWF. So this is where all of our call for applications live. This is where all of our job postings go. This is where any of those sorts of like time-sensitive seasonal sorts of opportunities will appear. So right now you can see that we have our call for applications for our mentorship program, as well as a separate call for applications for the May Ruth Sarsfield mentorship that Riley mentioned. In the sidebar over here, you can see all the different categories of news items. So you can poke through here to find whatever it is you're looking for. If you are looking for job postings, that's where any of these will appear. And you can also see the deadline or deadlimit in this case at the bottom of that little excerpt of them. And likewise, if you poke through the QWF mentorships category, you'll see the latest opportunities for those here as well. Moving over to our calendar now. This is where all of QWF's events appear, but it's not just where our events appear. Anybody can submit an event to this. So we call it the community calendar because we really want it to be the digital space where all the various events going on in Montreal as well as across Quebec with a literary focus will appear. So you can see here we have our workshops, we have our Lunch and Learn with QWF on here. But you can also see that we have a book launch here by Caroline Adderson, as well as the launch of the Encore Poetry's anthology in dialogue. Now you'll notice as I'm kind of looking through here, you see a bunch of our workshops. That's because each instance of a workshop will appear on this calendar. Let's say you want to just find free events. Well, you can go up to the top and you'll see that you have a bunch of opportunities to kind of drill down in this calendar. You can look by category and you'll see a whole bunch of different categories here. So let's say you're interested in attending some book launches. You can see upcoming book launches by looking through those. Or alternatively, let's say you want to only look at free events. You can go to the cost filter and you can scroll that down to $0. It's a sliding scale range bar. Just slide it down to 0 and you'll see all the free events that are going on. So you can see some of those book launches. But you can also see some QWF events, for example, or Shut Up and Write events, which are free. You can see a reading at Library Paragraph Bookstore, so on and so forth. Now, normally, we would have this sidebar here. This button would allow you to fill out a form to submit an event. However, we're having some technical difficulties with our website at the moment, and that form is not working as intended. So while our web developer is working on ironing out those kinks, we're asking people if they have any sort of event that they would like us to publicize, just send your event name, the date and time, an event description, and any graphics. That could be a poster or a social media graphic, anything like that. Just send them to me, john@qwf.org, and I'll manually upload them. And then once those kinks with the submission form get ironed out, that submission form will reappear, and it's pretty quick and intuitive to add your own events. Likewise, while we're on the subject of emailing me about your events, if you have anything on social media that you would like QWF to share, I'm your guy for doing that. So, social media is a great space for us to cross-post or share things that are going on with our members. And if you do have any sort of, let's say you have a book launch, let's say you have some other opportunity or a reading going on, you're more than welcome to send me the details by email, and I'll be happy to either share your post or, post about it on our various social media accounts. We have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter/X, and LinkedIn. So feel free to shoot me an email. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer any of them. And I can also give you pointers on, what are some best practices or ways to approach publicizing your work on social media. Okay, next. So Lori mentioned our Hire Writer website. So I'll show you that now. You can either just go to hirewriter.ca or you can find it on our website under resources right here, the Hire Writer directory. So let me show you what that looks like. So this is our directory of professional writers, editors, and literary coaches, and all of them have been vetted and selected by an independent committee through QWF. So these people have been, vetted to ensure that all of them meet our standards for what somebody on here should, the kind of expertise that somebody on here should have. We have a whole gamut of different kinds of writers on here. So many of them are literary writers, but many of them also have more corporate expertise. So you'll see here a sampling of various services that you can find on HireWriter. Everything from, translation services to coaching and mentoring. Let's say you have, you're working on a book and you just need somebody to really help you through some of the sections of it. You can find somebody for that. Or people who offer corporate writing services or ghostwriting services. So I'll show you what the actual directory itself looks like. So you'll see here that all the directory members are divided by their discipline. So at the top, it's in alphabetical order. So we have our writers with an academic focus at the top, arts and entertainment, corporate, fiction, government and nonprofit services, journalism, nonfiction. And you'll see as well that many of them are in multiple categories because they have expertise in those categories. Poetry, screenwriting, playwriting, and YA and children's literature. So you can look around and see each of those authors, and you'll see once you hover over their portrait, you'll see a list of the services they offer, and then you can click on their portrait to go to their individual page. But you can also search and kind of drill down to find what you're looking for using the sidebar here. You can either search for something specifically, or you can use these different filters to search for somebody. So you could say, let's say we're a fiction writer, and we're looking for somebody to help with editing a manuscript. So you can select fiction as the genre, and then you can look through the various services that we have. Let's select editing. And then you'll see the page populates with all the people who specialize in fiction and offer editing services. We can see that we have 20 results found, and you can poke through those and see all the various writers we have. And I'm gonna go on Erin's page because she's new to HireWriter and show you what one of these pages look like. So at the top, you can see all of their various focuses, as well as links to various social media or their CV or website, a list of the services and what types of writing they perform. They have a bio on there, more specific services or like an approach that they take, and special interests, things that they would be most interested in taking on. From there, if you're interested in talking further to one of our editors or coaches, all you need to do is fill out this contact form. You can enter your name, enter your email address, include a message. That form will go straight to Erin's email, and then she'll start the conversation over email with you by responding back to you. The other website I like to show you is our Quebec Books database, which can be found in the same section of the QWF.org website. It's also called our QWF Literary Database of Quebec English Language Authors. I usually end up just calling it the Quebec Books database because it's shorter than that whole mouthful. So you can click there to go to it. I've also opened it up in a tab here. So this is our database of English language books and authors in Quebec. And we recently revamped this in 2023. So we're coming up on its first anniversary. And this is a great resource, not only for publicity for the authors who are mentioned in here, but also for readers. And I'm assuming since all of you are here, all of you are interested in writing, you're also interested in reading. So here's a great resource for finding new books to read. And I recommend you check it out in one of two ways. You'll see in our browse section, we have a thing called collections. These are curated lists of books that we've developed based on genre or style of book or types of authors. So we have various collections here that you can explore to find different kinds of books in various genres. We have one for Black History Month of this year. We have one for speculative fiction. And then we have several further that you can check out and explore. Similarly, you can also look at the QWF Award winners and finalists. And you can go to this page. I just selected award winners and finalists. And this is the master list of all the finalists and winners of all the prizes from every year since the award's inception. That might be a little too ungainly for the most part. So what you can do is further drill down and explore the catalog by award category. So you could select fiction award finalists and winners, for example, and see all the books that were finalists and winners for the fiction prize. Or you can also look by award year. So let's say you're curious, what books were finalists and winners of last year? You can select that button, go to 2023, and you'll see all of the books that were shortlisted from last year. It's a great way to find, something that is topical, contemporary, and maybe up your alley. Okay. And a few little last final things I want to show you. Since Lori mentioned our workshop proposal, I'll show you where to find that on our website. So under our About QWF section, you'll find a whole bunch of pages, that you can look through to find out more about QWF, our history, our board of directors, et cetera, et cetera. One of the most important pages in this About section is our job opportunities. So anytime we have a new job offer, that will get posted here. And we also have some recurring positions that Lori and Riley have both mentioned. You can see we have workshop leaders, we have mentors, and we have writers in the community facilitators. And you can read those calls for applications. For the workshop leaders, this is the workshop proposal form that you can fill out and send to us. As Lori mentioned, we accept workshop proposals any time of the year. It's just that our committee meets during the summer, I think late summer, to schedule the workshops for the following year. So if you send a workshop proposal after that, it will have to be held until the subsequent year for workshops.
I'm going to just refine that a little bit. The reason it's actually a good idea to send it in when you think of it is that sometimes somebody cancels a workshop and then we need someone in short notice. So we do turn to the ones that have come in, kind of dribbled in at any time at all.
Right. Okay, there you go. So yeah, if you have an idea for a workshop that you would like to propose to QWF, check out that workshop form. The instructions for filling it out are all on the page. So you need to fill that in and you can send it off to us. I'll also show you a few other helpful sections of the website. Just check my notes here real quick. Oh yeah, so I'll show you where to find all those membership perks and discounts that Riley mentioned before. Under membership, just go to membership overview and you'll see, some blurbs about who should join QWF. Below that, you'll see the membership benefits as well as the membership discounts. And as Riley mentioned, we are currently in the process of renewing a bunch of these discounts and confirming that our partners are interested in continuing these relationships, but we're also looking to expand a lot of these discounts and benefits. So we'll be updating this list shortly, and we'll also be sending an announcement to QWF members to notify you of all of the changes and new additions to this list of discounts. But yeah, I think somebody mentioned, that they love Argo Bookshop. I love Argo Bookshop too, so I take advantage of that 10% discount all the time, especially since it's pretty close to the QWF office. But you can see that there are a bunch of various independent local bookshops on this list. There's Argo, there's Day Still in the Plateau, there's Paragraph, and I think all of them give QWF members a 10% discount. So if nothing else, if you're not getting that discount by participating in QWF workshops, you can at least use that discount to get a bit cheaper books. And as Riley mentioned, you need to show your valid membership card to take advantage of these discounts. I'll show you quickly how you can find that. Your membership card would have been emailed to you when you submitted your order for your membership. To find it in your email, I find the best approach is just to search your email with your Quebec Writers Federation order has been received. That you'll see is the subject line for that email. If you need to, you can put it in quotation marks. That'll make sure that your search form is only looking for subject lines with that text in it, rather than anything with that combination of words anywhere within the email. Anyway, search that in your search form with quotation marks, and you should find the latest transaction that you performed through QWF. Go into the email, and you'll see your membership card right there. And you'll see we say you can cut out this card, you can print it, you can keep a screenshot of it on your phone. Whatever way you want to show it, as long as you have it handy, then you'll be able to show it to any of our partnering organizations or vendors. Okay, and I think that is all for me. So I'm going to, when I find my stop share button, there it is. I'm going to stop sharing, and I think we can turn it over to you, the audience, for questions. Hey, I see some questions in the chat. We have one from Ilili. Thank you for this information. I recently purchased a membership, but will be leaving Montreal for the next few months. Other online events I can look out for? Absolutely. Since the pandemic, we have primarily done our events on a hybrid basis. So most of our events, if we do them in person, we will have a hybrid component so that people can beam in and watch the show. Likewise, we do have many online events, strictly online events, for example, this Lunch and Learn. And all of our Lunch and Learns have so far been online, and I don't think we intend to change that format. So you can expect future Lunch and Learns to happen online. And as Riley mentioned, we host a Lunch and Learn like this once every month. Every 3 months, it's one with QWF as an orientation session like this. And then the months in between, it's usually with either a professional working in the book industry or an organization working in the literary world. And I see one from Natalia. Is mentorship pairing offered on a yearly basis? Riley has answered, yes, applications open the fall, and the mentorships take place between February to May. Roxana has asked, where can I get access to this session recorded? We'll be posting it on our YouTube channel. We post all of our recordings of our online Lunch and Learns, as well as various other events on our YouTube channel. It does take a bit of time. I don't know if there's some secret sauce that YouTube, professionals use to make it a breeze, but I find when I upload the videos to YouTube, it takes hours for it to process and all of that stuff. So sometimes it takes a few days to upload those videos. But we'll be posting this online, and you'll be able to find it on our YouTube channel.
I saw a question from Julie too, and Riley answered it, but I'm going to refine the answer a little bit. It was from Julie. Your book does not have to have been published in Quebec. It does not have to have been published in Canada. As long as you are a Quebec resident and meet the requirements, you are eligible for the QWF awards. The submission call goes out in March each year. So if you publish a book in August, September, and you didn't submit it for the previous year, then you would have to wait until the call in March. And it is in your best interest as an author earning money to have your publisher submit the book, because if you submit a book for a prize and you win it and there's money involved, that money is taxable. But if your publisher submits it, it's considered a windfall and you don't pay taxes on a prize. So just keep that in mind.
Those kinds of hacks you can only learn by attending these Lunch and Learns. For those who are curious about our YouTube channel, by the way, I put it in the chat in response to Roxana's question about the link. It's just youtube.com/@Quebec Writers Federation.
Riley, do you want to answer Natalia's question?
Of course. It's very cute, actually.
It's very sweet, and you're not alone, Natalia.
Can I call myself a writer before I publish anything? I find it awkward when socializing with writers. First of all, I acknowledge that awkward feeling. I have that awkward feeling a lot myself and socializing, not just with writers. I think you can, if you feel that you're a writer, you can absolutely call yourself that. You don't need to have to publish in order to be called a writer. There are different ways to be considered one. Like spoken word artists who don't publish but perform are writers for one. And if even if you're just learning, you can absolutely still. I think you can call yourself that. And Julie also asked that question, if she was late for inclusion in the Mavis Galant Award for Nonfiction this year, can I include it next year? It depends on its publication date. I believe it's August. If it was published after August 1st, I'll have to double check the rules. It's
That's
August
okay,
1st.
Riley. I actually
You
wrote
said, oh,
exactly
perfect. Yes,
that.
August 1st. Yes, August 1st is the start. If it was after August 1st, 2024, it will be eligible for next year's award.
And I believe,
You're
Julie, your
muted.
book was published after August 1st, if I've got my timing right. Yes?
It was
In which,
published on the 26th of August.
okay, so in that
I
case,
Still be eligible for next year.
absolutely.
Yes.
Susan Doherty recommended it, so I'm figuring, okay, she probably knows. So I remain hopeful.
Great.
Any other
Are there any
questions?
other questions?
Look at that, 4 minutes ahead of schedule. Or maybe we go till 1:30 sometimes, I don't know. Anyway, great. I'm glad we've answered your questions. I hope your head isn't too full and swimming and overwhelmed. But if you think of something later and you don't remember what we said, we're here. That's what we do. So write to us, keep in touch, come to our events. We hope to see you more. And thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
John and Riley, should we switch over to the staff meeting?
Yes, yes.
Okay, all right.
Let's do it.
Bye,
Bye, everyone.
everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Hi, thanks.